welcome. My name's Taelin, registered dietitian nutritionist with Sound Dietitians. We've got a 30-minute presentation for you regarding a sweet topic, and that is the sweet truth about sugar. I've got 4 objectives for you. Our first objective is, what is the difference between natural sugar and added sugar? We're going to clear the air on that. The second topic is, how do we find the sugar in our foods, whether it's natural or added? The third topic is, what is too much sugar? How much is too much added sugar? The fourth and final topic is, once we know how much is too much added sugar, how do we reduce it? Let's jump straight in. There we go. All right, natural sugar and added sugar. So let's start with the definitions. Natural sugar is naturally found in food the way nature made it. No one put it there. It's naturally found in there. Added sugar. Added sugar is added to the food product. It's done in a process called processing. Many times they'll extract sugar from original sources like beet, corn, and sugarcane, and then they'll add it to foods. Now, they may be adding the added sugar to foods that already have natural sugar, like raisins, or they could be adding that added sugar to foods that don't normally have sugar in them, like sausages. So natural sugars, let's understand this a little further. They occur naturally in the following food groups: fruit, in the form of fructose, dairy in the form of lactose, starchy vegetables in the form of sucrose, and grains, often in the form of maltose, as well as some of these other forms. So when we're thinking about food sources, these food groups are naturally going to have sugar in them, and they're in various degrees. Going from the highest to the lowest, fruits are often highest in sugar. That's why they have that sweeter taste. Grains and starchy vegetables, they have less sugar, so they don't taste as sweet. Foods with natural sugars often have no preservatives. They're fewer in calories. They're higher in fiber, particularly the fruit, starchy vegetables, and grains. Fiber isn't found in any animal-based products naturally. And then they have a lot of vitamins and minerals. Some key vitamins are going to be vitamins A, B, C, and D. They also have many minerals, particularly potassium, magnesium, and calcium. Foods with natural sugars have prebiotics in the form of fiber, and also probiotics, typically found in our fermented dairy. So kefir and yogurt would be 2 examples of that. And finally, which I think is most important, they come with antioxidants and phytochemicals. Now, these aren't talked about a whole lot, but they're very important. They help our immune system fight free radicals, which are things that age us and make us more vulnerable to diseases, bacteria, viruses, and those sorts of things. So when we're consuming foods that have natural sugars, we're not just consuming the sugar. We're also consuming all of these good components of the food. And this is what makes them a really nutritious choice. So how does that differ from the added sugars? Our added sugars, they're extracted from those sources like I mentioned a moment ago: corn, sugar beets, and sugarcane. And then they're refined and they're added back to the food to enhance the flavor and our pleasure from the food. Now, the sweet truth is that this increases our desire for that food and it encourages us to buy more of it. So it's a brilliant idea on behalf of the food manufacturing companies. Oftentimes, foods that are high in added sugar are concentrated. So they pack a lot of sugar and a little bit of volume. And this is what gives it that particularly high sweet taste. So how is the added sugar different from the natural sugar? Well, foods that are high in added sugar are going to come many times with more preservatives, colors, and dyes. They may also have excess calories from added fat in the food. They have very little fiber, few vitamins, and few minerals, with the exception of sodium. Many foods that have added sugar and have been processed are also coming with added sodium. And so when we're consuming foods that are high in added sugars, we're missing out on all of those healthy components that are found in foods with natural occurring sugars. We're missing the fiber, we're missing the vitamin C, and we're missing the magnesium. And that's really important because your body can't produce fiber on its own, and it can't produce vitamin C on its own, and it can't produce magnesium on its own. And those things are essential to have a healthy life. All right, let's jump in to topic 2. How do we find sugar, whether it's natural or it's added? So finding sugar in food. To find natural and added sugar in food, we need to interpret nutrition facts labels and ingredient lists. Nutrition facts labels. Here we go. This is the newer nutrition facts label. Prior to 2020, we've had other nutrition facts labels, and this is the most up-to-date one. You should see this on the majority of food packages. However, you may find some that don't look quite like this. And so it's going to be a little bit different to find the added sugar on those foods. But the FDA and the USDA have done a great job trying to make it easier to find the added sugars. And so this is what we have now to show. Step 1 is we always start with the serving size because all of the nutrition content that's being displayed is in regards to that serving size. So here, this product has 2/3 cup, and in that product, we have a total sugar count of 12 grams. So you can see that right underneath the total carbohydrate, which is bolded. Then it's got an indentation with fiber and total sugars. So the total sugars is the total amount of sugar in that product. And this product you see has 12 grams. Step 3 is to go below total sugars, and it says includes 10 grams of added sugar. So in this product, out of the 12 grams of total sugar, 10 are added, which means 2 grams were natural occurring sugars. An example of this could be a raisin cereal. Food manufacturers may have added more sugar to the raisins and to the flakes of that cereal, but there's still a little bit of sugar found naturally in the raisins themselves. When we have foods that have added sugars in them, the list of the type of sugar will always be in the ingredients section. If the food only has natural occurring sugars, so in this example, say it said added sugars 0 grams, that means all 12 grams are natural and it would not be in the ingredient list. So usually below the nutrition facts label, there's the ingredient panel. So let's zoom in and take a look here. So this isn't necessarily the ingredient list for this product, but it is similar. So in this product, we can see the first ingredient is granola. And according to the FDA, on a product label, the ingredient list is below the nutrition facts panel, and the ingredients are always listed in order of predominance. So they're used in greatest amounts, which are first, and then they're followed in descending order by smaller amounts. So in this particular item, granola is the main ingredient by weight. And then after all the parentheses, there is whole grain rolled oats. But we can see what is the granola made up of. Well, it's made up of whole grain oats, and then we've got our list of sugars. Brown sugar is in here. There's also just plain granulated white sugar, which is the second underlined word. And then there's malted barley extract. That's a form of sugar. There's also corn syrup in here, which is a form of sugar. Oligofructose polydextrose is another form of sugar, as well as corn syrup solids, invert sugar, molasses, and sucralose. So you can see that there's a lot of names for sugar. And what's interesting is there's actually a total of 61 names for sugar on food products. You heard me. 61. So here's a quick list. Now, the American Heart Association, the USDA, and the FDA all have lists, but this list I got from Sugar Science. So you can go to their website if you want to take a closer look on this list, but I'll read out a couple to you now. We've got agave nectar, beet sugar, brown sugar, cane juice, coconut palm sugar, corn syrup. dextrose, dextrin, date sugar, fruit juice, glucose, high fructose corn syrup, honey, invert sugar, maltose, maple syrup, palm sugar, rice syrup, sucrose, syrup, yellow sugar. Sometimes the words have sugar, sometimes they have the word syrup, sometimes they end in a word ose, O-S-E. All of these are examples of sugar. So lots of stuff to look out for. Now, the important thing to know is that when you ingest the sugar, whether it's natural or added, your body's going to turn it into the same thing, and that's called glucose. So as far as what they're doing to the body, there isn't a big difference. Natural sugar and added sugar both turn into glucose, which is the simplest form of sugar once we consume it. Again, that main difference, as we emphasized in the first bullet point, is that the foods with natural occurring sugars are going to come with a whole host of benefits that our bodies need. And the foods that are high in the added sugars, they're void of those things. All right, topic 3. How much is too much? Well, the recommendation, according to the American Heart Association, is that adult men, should consume less than 9 teaspoons of added sugar, which is about 36 grams if we were to weigh the 9 teaspoons on a scale, or 36 grams if we were to look at a nutrition facts label. And women, adult women, should consume less than 6 teaspoons, which is 26 grams. And the same goes for children, 6 teaspoons or 25 grams or less. Another way to figure out how much sugar is too much is using the Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommendation, which is also the USDA's recommendation, and that is to consume less than 10% of your total calories from sugar, added sugar. So if you're someone who needs 2,000 calories, 10% is 200. So 200 calories or less can come from added sugar. So if you're someone who counts calories, that's an option for you. Of course, you can always talk to your registered dietitian nutritionist, and we'd be happy to personalize your sugar needs based on your goals, because there may be some exceptions for people who have a lot of energy needs because they're doing physical activity that really demands a lot of energy or calories. So what's the average American consuming? You can see in that triangle right here, boop, 18 teaspoons, which is 77 grams. So on average, the American is consuming more than twice the amount of recommended sugar. That's a problem. Excess sugar in our diet can really be a contributing factor for cavities. We see that there's increased prevalence of diabetes, heart disease, inflammation, cancer in humans who are consuming too much sugar. So while it's not a direct cause of those conditions, it does increase your risk. And we're seeing this trend continue as we go on throughout the years. More and more sugar is being introduced into our diet. And so we have to really open our eyes and look at our labels, look at our food choices, and ask ourselves, where is all this sugar coming from? So what the heck are we eating that's contributing so much sugar? Well, the not so sweet facts is that the majority of our sugar is coming from sugar sweetened beverages. So it's what we're drinking. Okay, so that's going to be our soda, our mochas, our energy drinks, juice, spirited beverages, smoothie, like artificial smoothie type products, drinkable yogurts, those sorts of things. That's where the majority of our sugar is coming from. And then we also have got a lot of sugar in our diets from breakfast products. So these are going to be our breakfast pastries like Pop-Tarts and toaster strudels, as well as breakfast cereals, whether they're hot or cold. They may have a lot of added sugar in them. And some of our snack bars that we have for breakfast also have a lot of sugar. The third area that we're getting a lot of sugar in, of course, is from candy and desserts. So these are going to be our pastries, our M&Ms, our Snicker bars, our cotton candy, marshmallows, just all of those sweet treats. The final area of sugar that is frequent in our diet that's added sugar is going to be coming from any kind of boxed products, which may be things like snack bars, but they also may be things that we're unfamiliar with, like sauces, or packaged products rather, like sauces, syrups, jams, jellies, dressings, marinades, dips, things of that nature. So that's where we're getting all of our added sugar from. Let's compare it to the can of soda. So in one can of soda, which is 12 ounces, we've got about 8 teaspoons of sugar. This is 32 grams of sugar. Now, because soda is not a natural food, there's no soda tree or soda cow. It's created. All 8 teaspoons or all 32 grams of sugar are going to be added sugars. How does that compare to what we're getting? Well, per day, on average, adults are getting about 18 teaspoons of added sugar, which is 77 grams. It's a lot. And kids are getting about 20 teaspoons of added sugar, so that's even more than adults. And that's 81 grams, which is a lot. In the course of the year, that's about 66 pounds of sugar. 66 pounds of sugar. That could fill up a bathtub. And that's for the 81 grams of sugar a day. So it's quite a lot. When we have this 12-ounce can of soda, if we just have 2 sodas a day, we're at 64 grams, which is really close to the 77 and this 81. So you can imagine that it doesn't take much to get in 77 to 81 grams of added sugar in a day. I want us to compare a couple different foods now, because what I hear often is a concern that people can't eat bananas or carrots or oranges because there's a belief that it has too much sugar. But yet we're eating things that truly have more sugar. So let's clear the air on that. We're going to compare plain yogurt to flavored yogurt. Now, flavored yogurt isn't the highest in added sugar when we look at boxed products or packaged products, but it's one that a lot of people are curious about. So I figured I'd compare it here for you. Plain yogurt has 3 teaspoons or 12 grams of sugar, and that's in one 6-ounce container, which is a standard serving size. None of that is added. All of that is naturally occurring. That is that lactose that came in the milk from the cow. Flavored yogurt, one serving, so the same size, 6 ounces, has about 20 grams. So let's take what we learned on the label and apply it, right? 20 grams of total sugar on the flavored yogurt. If we were to look on that product, we'd see 8 grams were added, which means the remaining 12 grams are natural occurring. This 20 grams of sugar is about 5 teaspoons of sugar in total. Let's compare something else. All right, bananas, one of my favorite go-to fruits. Bananas, one serving of a banana, which is about a medium-sized banana, weighs 4.3 ounces on a food scale. This has 15 grams of carbohydrates, 15 grams of sugar, which happen to be carbohydrates, so not wrong there, but 15 grams of sugar. That is about 3.5 teaspoons of sugar. Now, because bananas are a natural food, there's no processing involved, none of that sugar is added. So 0 grams of added sugar. A common snack that many people choose, or maybe are in school systems, is a pudding cup. I know I had several pudding cups in my youth. So in one pudding cup, which a serving is about 4.5 ounces, we've got 23 grams of sugar. And all 23 grams are added. So that's about 5.5 teaspoons total sugar. All right, another one. We've got carrots. Carrots are a sweeter vegetable. They're sweeter than spinach and sweeter than cauliflower. But are they really, high sugar like many people believe? No, not in comparison to where we're really getting a lot of sugar. 1 cup of carrots, which quite frankly is a lot, it's about 4 ounces of carrots. It's a nice snack size baby carrot bag. 1 cup of carrots has only 6 grams of sugar. That's it. That's 1.5 teaspoons, and none of that is added. And there are a lot of vitamins, minerals, fiber, prebiotics, antioxidants, phytochemicals in carrots. A snack bar, 1 serving size, that shouldn't say 6 ounces. It's smaller than 6 ounces. It's about 1.52 ounces, excuse me. So 1 serving of our snack bar has about 13 grams of sugar. Now, when we look at the label, and this particular one is like a fruit bar, it's got a fruit filling in it, a little oatmeal coating on top. 13 grams total sugar, 12 of it's added. And so we've got how many grams from natural sugar? 1 gram from natural sugar. So that fruit filling that's in the middle, whether it's strawberry, blueberry, apple, is that natural occurring sugar. But you can see the majority is added sugar. So this is going to be about 3 teaspoons of sugar. So let's say we have all of these foods in a day, and we'll compare that first column, the water, the plain yogurt, the banana, and the carrots, to our second column, which is the soda, the flavored yogurts, the snack bar, and the pudding cup. In total, we've got 33 grams of sugar, 0 grams of added sugar in our water, yogurt, banana, carrot day. In comparison, on our soda, flavored yogurt, pudding cup, snack bar day, 88 grams of total sugar, 75 of which are added. 75 is really close to that typical American average of 77 grams. So you can see it doesn't take a lot. You don't need to be eating cake every day or eat lots of cookies to get in too much sugar. It truly is in a variety of commonly eaten foods. So that just tells us that we should start to build an awareness on our food selections. How often are we consuming our packaged foods in comparison to some of our fresher foods? Both can fit into our diet. It's a matter of how much and how often. Like, let's say, for example, you had the flavored yogurt and we just swapped out the plain yogurt for the flavored yogurt. You would still be less than the recommendation of 6 teaspoons a day or 25 grams a day, right? Because we would only have we would only have 20 grams of sugar from that yogurt, 8 which are added. So we just bump up that number from 0 grams to 8 grams. Okay. Finally, let's go to reducing the sugar. There we go. So how do we reduce the sugar now? Well, and why do we reduce the sugar? Eating less sugar will help decrease our risk for cavities, for diabetes, for heart disease, excess body weight, and inflammation. And all of these things, they don't just come on like that. They're slowly developed. So 1 day of eating a lot of sugar is not going to give you these issues. However, if our day-to-day habits involve a lot of added sugars, it's placing us at risk of these conditions that many times we can prevent. So we really want to be mindful on looking at ways on decreasing those added sugars. So I've got 3 healthy swaps for you guys. Well, more than 3. I've got 3 categories of healthy swaps, rather. So my challenge to you, my call to action for you, is to think in your diet about 1 beverage, 1 snack, and 1 mealtime item that might have added sugar and finding a healthy alternative. And I'll share a couple examples that I use myself, as well as examples clients, friends, and other colleagues have used. So let's look at the first category for beverages. Water. Water is a great beverage. That should always be our primary beverage option. The majority of our bodies are made out of water, so that's going to be the ideal go-to. But of course, if we need something a little more fun, we can try sparkling water. There's lots of great brands out there. I do think the different brands taste differently as well. So if you've tried one, try another. You can also get like hint water or something similar. And this is just a water that has just a splash of a fruit essence in it. Or, of course, you can create your own and make a pitcher of water, add in some limes or lemons or mint or cucumber or basil or strawberries or watermelon, whatever you want to add. And it gives your water that hint of something special. Really great in the summertime. You can also do herbal teas. Herbal teas are not like green, black, and white teas. They are herbaceous and they've got lots of flavor. Chamomile and peppermint are really common, but they've got all sorts of flavors now. You can do peach and raspberry, hibiscus, honey lavender, licorice. There's so many great combinations. If you haven't tried herbal teas, I highly recommend it, especially during these cold winter months. And of course, milk. Milk is a great option. Now, milk does have natural occurring sugars, but the goal really is to limit our added sugars. We're not going to be too concerned with limiting total sugars from whole food sources. If you are a fan of milk alternatives, that works as well. You just have to look at the label. Some almond, soy, hemp, coconut milks do have added sugar and some do not. Next is our fruit category, or excuse me, our snack category. I recommend choosing a fruit if you're craving something sweet, but you've also got vegetables, yogurts, plain would be less sugar than the flavored, but flavored is still a lower sugar option compared to a lot of other snack products in the market. And then nuts, a handful of nuts is always a great option as well. And then on our final category, which is mealtime options, we can simply start looking at labels, and a good rule of thumb is to find that added sugar column. If it's got 5 grams of sugar or less, I say that's a good option, right? Because you can have several foods throughout the day, and if they're all less than 5 grams, you may be pretty close, if not below, the 25-gram recommendation or less. So those are a couple tips that I hope will make your journey to lowering those added sugars easier. So let's kind of summarize everything we learned here. We know the sweet truth about sugar. We know that there's natural sugar and there's added sugar, and when we eat them, they both turn into glucose. So the issue is not that we have to avoid all sugar. It's that when we eat foods that have natural occurring sugar, we're getting so many more benefits. When we're consuming foods that mostly have added sugar, we're getting a lot more additives, a lot less micronutrients, those vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, things of that nature. And we're also getting oftentimes a lot more calories. So if we can start making those healthy swaps, we can reduce our average intake of 77 grams of added sugar in a day down to the recommendation of about 25 grams of added sugar a day. We can do that in ways that are healthy, that are tasty, and that are delightful, and oftentimes more affordable. So I hope you learned lots and that you enjoyed the sweet truth about sugar. Till next time, this is Taelin signing off.